on the road. All right, everyone, welcome to the 10th Singapore Connect Coronavirus Community Forum. It's hard to believe it, but this is already our 10th session. We started this journey on the 15th of March, just before we went into shelter in place. And that was, I remember, a lot of folks were really concerned about this current situation, and Singapore only had 212 cases, and everyone was thinking of going back to Singapore or wondering what was going to happen, right, in the United States. And I'm super grateful to have with us along this journey the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Daryl Lau, as well as Hui Wang, who have been really with us, giving us real-time information as well as real information in a time of lots of disinformation or confusion in the marketplace, to sort of get us the data we needed and the advice we needed, right, to move on. We've also had a wonderful partnership with Singapore Global Network, in the form of Karen Tay, talking a lot about the tech issues, as well as David Ho. Oh my goodness, David, who, you've been such a bedrock for bringing the community together, right? Catalyzing all these conversations across the many WhatsApp group. You kind of know when the community is really grown, when one WhatsApp group is not even enough, and then we don't even have enough in each region for the seats in WhatsApp groups, that we actually have the multiple WhatsApp groups for the entire SF Bay area. And then we have to have a Slack groups and multiple Slack groups, because you can't do that. And we have Telegram and all these other different ways to communicate. So kudos to Singapore Global Network. You really try to help us get together, and you've organized some really cool events as well, just as you did yesterday, day before, with the Senior Minister of State, Jano, who's Dr. Jano, who's of course also the Minister for Communications and Transport. So you guys have been awesome partners for us as a community, and we've been so privileged and honored to have you as part of this journey on the ground with us, going through shelter in place, to really kind of guide us through this process and provide us the assurance. And then, of course, we have SingaporeConnect, my partner in crime here, Mark Sin, who's, been making wonderful videos, working with the community in terms of determining the topics we should be having as well. And I have with us some awesome committee members on the call here, like June, Kristen, as well as Wilson, who has been running a lot of these different events around in terms of supporting restaurants too. So super excited to have everyone back here together. We did take a break last week, and we are having the forum on a fortnightly basis instead of weekly here on, because the crisis is somewhat over. At least we've got that sort of comfort level in terms of understanding what's been going on. So at the moment, the next session will be in 2 weeks' time, and it's not going to be next week. That's why we also did take a break last week. But I have to say that, with each week, the content has been awesome. We started with having, one of the Singapore pharmacists really talk about the different medication we should be going for. We had the mental health professionals tell us how we should take care of ourselves when we're sheltering in place. And then we also have, of course, conversations about immigration, visas, and the like. And then we had conversations related to finding the cure for COVID, which was super encouraging. And now today, we're learning how to actually cook Singapore dishes, not just about going to restaurants and how to support restaurants around us, which we amazingly had as well. As you remember, we had the panel from Shiok, Satay by the Bay, as well as Nonya Cafe. That was awesome. But now today, as we graduate from shelter in place, we're really hoping to pick up some great skills to take us along this final journey and to spice up our lives. So this evening, we have with us Emily Lim, as well as Erica Teo, to share with us some of their amazing recipes and show us how it's done. And now you're probably wondering, how are they going to do this cooking show and show Hainanese chicken rice in, half an hour? No, we've got a little trick around this. But the cool part about this is that you now have access to Emily and Erica. So you can find them on Instagram, and you can also reach out to them for more advice on an ongoing basis. And many of you already have given us a lot of your questions, like where to find ingredients, what to put in there. Well, they're the go-to people because, just to give you a little heads up here, they have trained in Michelin star rated restaurants. They have also been following the hawker scene a lot, and they make really awesome food. So super excited to have you guys all back together. Now, what's going on with all of us? Let's get started here. And let me just share the screen in large format. So it turns out over the weeks, many of us have been moving around, and some of us have gone back to Singapore. Some of us have stayed behind. Some of us have gone back and come back in the meantime, right? Over all the entire period here. But in today's session, we see a majority of folks, right, saying they're planning to stay in the US for the shelter in place. So it sounds like, many folks are thinking at this point, shelter in place is almost coming to an end as well. So we kind of see that sign of things where people are maybe even not thinking about it anymore. It's become something where they're used to being here for. And then, of course, when we consider how much longer we think shelter in place will go on for, the sentiment here is still about the same as 2 weeks ago. I think mostly because, actually, frankly speaking, this is an interesting number. When we first started this, tracking this a few hours ago, when we first sent out the survey, like 48 hours ago, this number wasn't that high. But I think with all the protests that have been happening around the region and the curfew that's just put in place, I saw this number shoot up by 1 point. So it was about 7 points, and now it's 8 weeks. So 7 weeks, 8 weeks, right? So some folks are thinking it might go actually a little longer, not just because of shelter in place for the coronavirus, but also perhaps because of some of the tension that's happening around, which is really unfortunate as well. Now let's think about what's happening in Singapore, which is what we usually do, close and dear to us. When we first started, as I mentioned, we had 212 cases in Singapore. That was cases, right? Not deaths, but cases, which was awesome. I think, as we look at the numbers, we can see that, and 2 weeks ago, that was 28,000 cases, right? With 22 deceased, as well as 9,000 discharged. But 2 weeks now, in 31st of May, we're actually seeing indeed the rising cases, but we're also seeing a dramatic increase in the number of individuals discharged from 9,000 to 21,000. And fortunately, the number of folks we've lost to this in Singapore, every life is important, but it's just gone up by 1 in the past 2 weeks. Versus, what we're seeing elsewhere around the world, right? Especially in the US, where the number has gone over 100,000. Daryl, any comments on what's happening on the ground? Because we heard some really positive news from the Senior Minister of State yesterday, on Friday as well. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think we're looking forward to seeing what happens in Singapore, because the world, has been watching Singapore very closely, because we consider the way Singapore has been managing the situation as something that is a great role model for the rest of us everywhere as well. So we're certainly waiting to hear and trying to, learning more about what's happening there too. So thanks, Daryl, for sharing some of those thoughts.
You're welcome.
Great. So, and if you guys are interested in more information and getting this data, it's available at the MOH site, right, regularly, where we're monitoring the situation. And it's encouraging to know that we don't have as many people hospitalized as we did before. And the ones that are, who are critical, the numbers have dropped as well. So that's really encouraging to see. So you'll see that as well in terms of the sentiment. I think many of us have been monitoring the situation, and we're seeing, of course, that Singapore has consistently been lower in terms of folks being concerned about the health system being overwhelmed. Singapore has a lower number compared to the US on the whole, which is great. In terms of the sentiment, right, that we all have here and confidence. Singapore has also published some safe return management measures. So it's really interesting to read that up as well for those of you who haven't had the chance to look at it. So let's get into the matter at hand, which is our featured topic of the week. So our featured topic of the week is on cooking Singapore food at home. After all these weeks of shelter in place, we're now trying to figure out what else there is to learn in terms of skills that we have mastered. I think we've really, whatever repertoire that we've had over this period of time has probably reached its maximum, because when we asked everyone, questions about what topic people were interested in, food came to the top of mind. I know we talked about the restaurants and eating out and getting food from them, but everyone this time basically said, we want to learn how to cook at home as well. We want to be able to improve our skills. So we brought, we're bringing in two experts to share with us how they prepare their food. And they're going to be covering Hainanese chicken rice and Kueh dada. Before we get into that session, though, we're going to share some of the information you've been telling us about, what you like and the food you miss and so forth. So we're super excited to have all that context and this conversation about food and how to make it in today's session. So let's go into get started. So let's start first with what you have been telling us about cooking Singapore food at home. And so many of you, of course, reside in the other zones apart from this. So in other words, I think this topic has been so exciting that we're getting a lot of people from even outside the San Francisco Bay Area participating, such as in LA. I think I saw even someone from Utah, Park City, Utah, saying that they don't really have Asian restaurants there, and they really need to figure out supermarkets even, and they need to figure out how to get food and how to make their own. So certainly welcome to have you guys all share with us and be part of the process. But in terms of the Bay Area, certainly we have a predominance of South Bay folks who are actually on the call today, which is awesome. And then when we think about the regular day when Singapore food is available in your areas, we think of takeout and box lunch options, right? Certainly everyone is saying they prefer to have a regular day. And many of them are saying, I prefer that regular day to be every day because I really want to have Singapore food every day, which explains why I think you guys are asking for this cooking session, because you want to be able to make your own food every day. But, we're also seeing the results tell us that you would prefer Singapore food to be available on weekends, versus weekdays only, right? So that's interesting data for us too. Many of you are actually responding favorably to do-it-yourself Singapore meal kits. I think certainly we've been seeing a lot of meal kits, right, in the U.S. in terms of other type of options, right? But they're not Singaporean food per se. And we're seeing that many of you are saying that you really like to have these do-it-yourself Singapore kits. I think partly because it's super hard to get food and ingredients, right, to make these items. So someone can help you package that. It sounds like something you guys are interested in having. Now, in terms of food being delivered cold or hot, it seems like many of you are actually willing to actually have food that's cold so that you can actually freeze it, right? And I certainly experienced that myself because I have 3 kids. So it's really convenient if I could like buy some bak chang and keep it for the whole week, right? Instead of cooking every day. So that sounds like something that many of you, almost half of you, are saying that you're interested in doing. And a third of you are sitting on the fence and they're trying to figure out, whether that's something you'd like to do as well. But it sounds that at least we're open to different options in terms of getting access to our favorite flavors, right? So in terms of having our favorite flavors, many of us here, in fact, the dominant crew of us, we're all saying that we'd like to have authentic food, no compromises on the flavor. Whereas there's some of us who are actually saying we actually don't mind having some keto variants, gluten-free variants, and the likes, right? Because of different allergies that we might have. So it's interesting because certainly we're always hearing that Singaporeans are very interested in having pure food. But I think we're also seeing that, I think Erica in our prep conversations just saying that some Singaporeans actually have been reaching out to her to make different types of kueh that rely on alternative ingredients to meet their dietary needs. So I think she'll talk a little bit more about that later on as well, which is super nifty, especially since personally I've been on a keto diet. It's been awesome. But a lot of the Singapore food just won't do for the keto diet. Now, this is the fun part. Where do you get our food supplies? This is where it gets complicated. And I think many of you, pointed out to many of these, selections that were very neighborhood oriented. But then predominantly, most people were saying they got their supplies from Ranch 99 and also H Mart. So it's great that, we have these options around the, Bay Area. I'm going to pause here in case there are any questions. I'm going to check the chat screen for any comments or questions. Okay, no questions so far. And I know that Emily and Erica are gonna talk a little bit about where they source their food, right? Where are the secret places they can get the Singapore ingredients. I won't even say freshest ingredients because You know, I imagine Michelin restaurants tend to go for that, like fresh ingredients. But I'm almost Emily. It's might be too hard to expect that, right, for Singapore food. Do you think? Are you muted? Unmuted? Okay, maybe she'll comment later on. Okay, let's push ahead. Oh, my internet connection is unstable. All right, can everyone hear me again?
Yes, you're back.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, sorry about that. My internet, like died. I need to see if my kids are gaming in the back behind me. But well, anyway, sorry, I was just asking Emily to tell us a little bit about the supermarkets. Emily, were you able to share any comments? Apologies, I'm out.
No, because I wasn't sure what's happening with the Zoom call, so I just I
Okay,
didn't. But
no
anyway,
worries. Yes.
hi everyone. My name is Emily. In terms of getting Singaporean produce, I've had the most luck getting it from New Mei Wah in Richmond. I reside in SF, so that's typically my go-to spot. New Mei Wah contains things like pandan leaf frozen, fresh lemongrass, galangal, chili padi, macroot slash kaffir lime leaves, laksa leaves, like literally almost anything you need, you could possibly get from New Mei Wah, except that the prices aren't very like cheap lah. You know what I mean? You have to. If you also live in Chinatown, you might also want to go get some stuff from Chinatown because some things in Chinatown are cheaper. But New Mei Wah is generally where you want to go to get everything. What else am I answering? Sorry, Jasmine.
No, that's the key one. Thank you. There's going to
Yeah.
be a bunch more as we push ahead, but that was just to help contextualize the restaurants, the different supermarkets that are here. So let me push ahead. So in terms of cooking at home, a few weeks ago when we asked you that question, many of you said you were actually cooking a lot more at home, right? Almost 73% more than before. But now with the SIP loosening up, as we saw in your study, we're going back to the pre-COVID situation where you're thinking, you're going to be eating half your meals home cooked essentially versus eating out all the time. Still a little bit more of a home cooked kind of practice versus eating out. So what are the Singapore foods we're actually missing? This is the key part that I think everyone's been curious about too. And the last time we did this a few weeks ago, the list was slightly different, but I think the core list was there. I mean, we had the favorites, the char kway teow, right? The Hokkien prawn mee, hor fun, and bak chor mee and chui kueh. And since then, it's been awesome, but I had some of the Singaporean restaurants like Tommy from Nonya Cafe actually produced some chui kuehs, which was awesome, really hit the spot, right? I don't see curry puff here, but that was certainly one of my big ones as well. And they did some really awesome char kway teow and then curry puff. And then of course, ordered a whole bunch from Shiok as well for char kway teow and the rest of the food, Hokkien prawn mee. Just couldn't stand it. It's hard to do a project like this and keep talking of food and not eating it, right? I'm sure many of you are thinking the same thing as you were going through the list, and we were trying to figure out what were your favorite options as well. So thanks for sharing your list, and this list actually could be a great start because many of you are saying you want to have more of these cooking sessions. We've got Hainanese chicken rice, which some of you have said, hey, it's actually a pretty basic dish. And it's actually, if it's something that I can do, especially for those of us who didn't do too well in home economics, if this is something that we can do, maybe then we can advance to higher levels, right? And eventually reach char kway teow level. I don't know what the level of difficulty is of these different dishes. But it's certainly, a great list to start off with in terms of thinking of wish list of things to cook for ourselves. So thanks for sharing your favorites with us this evening. So without further ado, I think you guys are all very excited to meet Emily and Erica. I have to say that they're both super interesting folks, and I've been really honored to meet them because they both have been so dynamic. And I want to just share with you something about Emily as well. So she participated in a competition, and I'm going to show you a clip of what happened in that competition. I'm super proud of her.
From food trucks to high-end restaurants, chefs everywhere are creating awesome fusion dishes.
How are you?
Very good. Have you been to Mexico?
Never.
You been to Singapore?
Nope.
What do you think? Now, first up, representing Singapore, Emily Lim.
Singaporean cuisine is a multitude of different Southeast Asian cuisine. Singaporeans are used to bold, rich flavors. It's our everyday kind of thing.
What's up?
Nice to meet you. All right, tonight you're going to be teaming up with another world chef. Representing Mexico, it's Geronimo Madril. I'm here. What's up, chef? How are you? Emily, have you been to Mexico?
Never.
You been to Singapore?
Nope.
Well, I'm going to tell you, in my mind, I think this is going to be dynamite. You guys ready?
Ready.
Go find your card.
Let's do this.
I'm Geronimo. Everyone calls me Mo, though.
Nice, I'm Emily.
Pleasure to meet you.
Well, now you've met. And you are going to create, design, develop, flavor $8,000. Who wants the money?
Yeah. I think we all do, right?
Cultures together and make a stream. You guys ready? To help you get started, because, ladies and gentlemen, we're playing just to kind of get those creative juices flowing. Must-use ingredients have got to be incorporated in your dish. So you have 30 minutes to. One is going to go for the big, okay?
I don't even know this guy, and guy to make it more complicated.
I got Mexico.
I got Singapore. What are we gonna do?
Noodles, because we can cook it fast.
Some way, somehow, we gotta combine our fusion together using all these ingredients and make it spicy.
What about doing like a spicy shrimp that's crusted with like potato chip?
Mexico is surrounded by beautiful beaches, beautiful waters, and Singapore is surrounded by water. We're an island. Why not let's play this up?
So today we're making peppercini potato chip fried shrimp.
So we have the rendang sauce to go with the noodles. Rendang is spice paste that you use to cook meats in it. It's super rich, oily, delicious. We need something from aisle 6.
Yo,
baby food.
Yeah, we can add that in the sauce.
Cool beans.
So we know the spicy challenge, so I'm grabbing all my favorite dried chilies that I can.
Make it spicy.
Boom, something red, check.
Where's the ginger?
What's up?
Ginger, okay. Can I know a secret? I don't really eat a lot of Mexican food.
When you see all these international chefs coming together. You're born in Mexico. What's the menu idea?
We are doing a spicy peppercini crusted shrimp.
Like a sambal type sauce to go on top of it.
So who has the vinegar in their culture?
Asian culture has a lot of vinegar.
A lot of vinegar. Okay, okay.
All right, cool. I'm gonna get started.
So we got our challenge and we're jumping into it head first.
I'm gonna start blending up these chips here and getting the crust going.
Sounds like a plan, man.
All right.
The chips are gonna add a great crust to the shrimp and fry it really easily.
Do you need garlic for your shrimp?
Yes.
I'll mise out some for you.
Mexican cooking is all about your spice. No one can ever say Mexican food is boring. If you did, you haven't had the right kind of Mexican food.
So Mo's working on the breading on the shrimp, and I'm working on the rendang sauce. So in the rendang sauce, there's lemongrass, there's shallots, garlic, ginger, shrimp powder for the challenge. I'm using 3 different kinds of Mexican chili, all blended up into a paste. Baby food. So we have to use baby food.
Yeah. But I see your taste and I look at it like, is that good?
No.
I think fusion is a very trendy trend.
The worst food in the world is not bad Chinese or bad Mexican, it's bad fusion, which I call confusion.
1 minute, chefs. 1 to go. Gotta get plated.
Hey, we're getting ready to plate here.
Noodle is life. So I took the noodles and put it in the bowl, and I put the sauce over the noodles. And we had the beautifully fried shrimp stacked on top of each other, and the cilantro garnish.
That was around the world in 30 minutes. Let's see who gets a passport stamp for round. Judges, this is game 1 of our World Fusion Face-Off. The chefs had to fuse the flavors of their countries together. And so, Team Emily and Mo.
So Mexico and Singapore, we're surrounded by a lot of water. Hence, what you see is pretty much all related to the sea. The sauce is essentially a rendang paste that goes over dried egg noodles. And Mo was going to tell you about the shrimp.
And we did a peppercini chip crusted shrimp. There's a chili huerito on the side. Enjoy.
So we have this combination of Mexico and Singapore. This feels like something I would eat at an Asian restaurant in Tulum. I think the best thing that you did was use the potato chips as the crust on this. They bring a lot of acidity. Where was the baby food in this? I'm sorry.
So I used the baby food in the sauce just so it kind of like smooths out the finish.
It's a very nice sauce with the type of egg noodle you used.
I love rendangs, and obviously that with fish sauce and then acid from the lime juice, incredibly successful. It works really well with these noodles.
I also love the crust on the shrimp. Speaking of the shrimp, they're a little overcooked.
Thank you.
All right. Not to be outdone, though. China. All right, judges, thank you. Chefs, you're asking for a spicy collaboration of world fusion. And unfortunately, one team will be checking out here in the first round. The team checking out in the first round is... So here's a chance for your team to win a key advantage in a test of your food knowledge. This duo is a perfect combination of seafood and a starchy side. It's a perfect combination of seafood and a starchy side. As soon as you know it, you can go get it.
Go.
I get shrimp. Get grits.
Come on,
There we go. There we go. Whoa, look at that. You got the right stuff. There you go. Step back. There you go. Emily and Mo, congratulations. You get a key advantage in the final round. I've got an idea. Give us your cross-cultural take on a classic duo. So go ahead, take a moment, think about your favorite food pairing.
So what do you want to do?
I do steak and potatoes.
So what?
We cut the potatoes up.
It's not up to them.
Okay.
What you're experiencing, ladies and gentlemen, is these are American duos. I want you to take them to the international world. And here's the best thing. I'm gonna let you guys pick first. That is your advantage. What do you want?
I see fish and chips with soup and sandwich.
Fish and chips, let's go. Fish and chips.
Fish and chips. Fish and chips it is. Now, gentlemen, guess what you don't get? They're too primed. They're too pumped up right now.
This is order up mashup, and we gotta infuse a classic duo here.
But we won trivia, and we gotta pick whatever classic duo we wanted. We got fish and chips. Can I marinate the fish in Southeast Asian spices first, and then you better?
Yeah, I love that.
But chips, though.
Tater tot.
Let's go.
Let's do that. I'll roll with that. All right.
I think fish and chips are gonna work out great. There's fried food in both cultures. Fish is very prominent in both cultures as well.
Asian spices. Let's hit this guy right now, too.
Okay. For the marinade for the fish, we're trying to decide on what is the common flavor that both countries have. But what makes it Mexican?
Tamarind makes Mexican as well.
Boom. So I grabbed some tamarind and green curry. So it kind of gives like a nice sour flavor profile. Acidity is what you really need in fish and chips. How about beer for the batter?
That sounds cool to me. Yuka.
I realize tater tots are not Mexican, but I really want to do tater tots. Yuca is really, really a big staple in Mexico. I know we can put our flair on this.
Let's roll that.
Let's go.
It is only a genius move if it works.
Yeah. So while he's getting his tater tot jam on, I'm working on the marinade for the fish. I got my tamarind sauce into a bowl with the curry paste and garlic powder. I really want the tamarind sour flavor profile and the curry flavor to meld into one another with the fish so that I could represent Singapore's culture and flavor. We only had one fryer. I decided to fry the fish first. So I got rice flour mixed with some cornstarch and our beer. And it's good to go. It was gonna be crunchy, so when you bite into the fish, it would be like...
You know, I feel like if all...
You got that going right there. What do you need help?
Mix all that together.
We can't have fish and chips out of tartar sauce, so we're gonna have a Singaporean style fried fish with a Mexican style tartar sauce with mayo, cilantro, jalapenos, lime juice, and a little bit of salt, pepper, and granulated garlic. Boom, this is right.
I'm ready to fry on these tater tots.
My yuca's done boiling. Get it into the food processor. Get them to a piping bag so we can start frying them.
Uno momento.
So not only does this dish have to be Singaporean, it has to be Mexican, and it has to be $20,000 worthy. Any prize money I could win today would go right back in my business.
I'm working with Mo. I feel more confident working with Mexican food. So with the $20,000, I want to travel the world, learn about the culture and the food, and then incorporate that into what I can do and share it.
This isn't working out.
Yeah?
No. Yeah, it's mush.
What? Something just happened. We've got less.
Here we are, judges. Game 2 of our World Fusion Face-Off. Emily and Mo, they won the advantage. Picked fish and chips. I like it. Tell us the rundown here.
Mo and I discussed about what we wanted to do with the fish, and we found that the most common ingredient is tamarind. So I marinated the fish, which is cod, in tamarind and green curry paste and deep fried it.
And accompany that is jalapeno cilantro mint tartar sauce, as well as fried yuca. Enjoy.
Emily and Geronimo, you are like the dynamic duo of Flavor Town. In great fusion, it's just good food. And I think that's what I'm getting a lot of here when it comes to flavor.
Tamarind is such a good idea because when I think about fish and chips, I think about that malt vinegar. And it's bracingly acidic. So it was a very smart idea. This aioli, though, is radonkadonk. The little tiny pops of jalapeno. It's just a brilliant combination here.
I agree with this tartar sauce. That's the bomb.
I really do. We're going to... Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chef.
So, judges, who duo you think should win?
Mo and Emily, altogether truly delicious and definitely addressed.
Ooh, you can go. This cabbage with a white bulb at the bottom has a name that means white vegetable in Chinese. And they're off!
Bok choy, you know? Bok choy is my favorite vegetable on earth. Okay, what's the other one?
Bok choy, $4,000.
Rustic bread roll popular for sandwiches whose name means slipper in Italian.
I don't know any Italian. Ciabatta.
Yeah, got it.
Ciabatta. Ciabatta?
Ciabatta?
No, I don't know.
Did you get your ciabatta?
Yeah.
Got it.
$8,000.
Widely used in Indian cuisine, this yellow orange flesh root is known for its anti-inflammatory properties.
Straight up, turmeric.
Got it. Yes! Wow, let's go!
Oh my God, that's $12,000.
A round Japanese sweet that is made by pounding short grain rice.
Mochi.
I had no idea what it was, period.
Go, go, go.
You know what you're looking for?
Where's Mochi?
Where is it?
Where's Mochi?
Seconds.
Where's Mochi?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold on. Okay. Hold on.
I'm dead.
I'm dead.
$16,000. As a team today, I think we performed extremely well.
Definitely.
Sorry. Well,
Yeah.
it was just announced that they won, that Emily won this grocery, this fusion cooking competition. Emily, we're honored to have you here today. Tell us more about the contest and tell us more about your background.
All right. Hi, guys. Okay, it's always very weird to see yourself on TV, but I guess that's happening. So how I got into this competition was, I think there are a lot of talent scouters online. They were looking for people who can, cook up a song on TV and seem relatively interesting. They found me on Instagram and I went ahead and filled out the application form. There was like a rigorous 4-interview process situation. And then I finally got in, filmed that episode last year actually in late January, early February, and it only aired this year in February. So that was that. The competition essentially involves like chefs from different ethnic groups to represent their cuisine, and then they pair against like a mystery person. So I was paired with Geronimo, who's representing like Mexican food, and I at that point was like, I don't even really eat Mexican food, so I only had like tacos and burritos. You know what I mean? Like, is that even really Mexican food? But it worked out because there was a lot of Mexico's like from a tropical Mexico's tropical, Singapore's tropical, so there's like very common ingredients like cilantro, like tamarind, tamarind's in a lot of Indian, Indian and Malay foods. And then they have tamarind like drinks and all that too in Mexico. So it's pretty interesting. I think that probably answered your question, right, Jasmine?
That's interesting. Yeah. Well, we're super proud of you representing Singapore, and you're going to do another one, right? Coming up shortly.
Yes. It's coming out on July 8th, hopefully. That one was extremely scary because I was competing with like executive chefs, like my previous job was executive sous chef, and then like the next level is like executive chef, and I was like competing with people who've been cooking for like years. So you get to see me extremely nervous competing with all these like awesome people. Again, doing kind of like Singaporean food lah.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, we're excited to see Singapore food, right, being kind of showcased, right, on television as well.
Exactly. There's not enough Singaporean food representation on like American TV channels.
Yeah.
So I think this is a pretty fun opportunity to do so.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about your background. It's certainly something you were passionate about, but you also went to school for this. Ooh, did I lose connection? Or did Emily lose connection?
Is Jasmine, are you still there?
I am here. All right,
Jasmine,
everyone.
are you back?
I am back. Sorry about that. This is the third time this evening. Hopefully it'll stay stable. So Emily, I was just going to ask you a little bit about your training and your background, because it certainly wasn't just about your interest in Singapore food, but also that you actually went, you loved it so much, you actually went through some formal training.
Yeah, so just so you guys know, I actually have a background in mass communications and marketing. I was like working in Discovery Networks under the like Southeast Asia regional marketing team, and I felt a big hole in my soul that needed to be filled. And at that point, my mom was also like, "Honey, you gotta get a bachelor's degree, right? Because in Singapore it's all about the paper chase." So I chased the paper in culinary arts, and then I did my internship in California, San Mateo, and I did Indian cuisine. I, for one, am somebody who loves spices. I even have like a little chili tattoo on my wrist.
Wow.
I love spices so much. I went to like a Michelin-star Indian American restaurant to learn, and then I fell in love with Californian produce. So it's just been something I've been doing since like 2014, like in the US, and I haven't really looked back.
That's fabulous. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great. Well, great meeting you, and thank you for joining us today and sharing your experience as well. So let's move on to Erica. Erica, tell us a little bit more about your background.
Oh, hi. Wait, give me one moment.
All right. Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Erica.
Okay. My background is kind of a little bit different from Emily. So I knew I wanted to be in the culinary industry when I was 11.
Wow.
I remember telling my mom like, "Oh, hey, I think I want to be a chef." That was after I cooked my first, as I told Jasmine, that was after I cooked my first omelette. But I saw the eggs coagulate from liquid and become this fluffy omelette, scrambled egg thing. And I was like, "Oh, what is this cooking thing?" I decided that I wanted to do that. So diploma, I went to Temasek and did baking and culinary science. So I learned a bit of the science behind that. Science behind cooking and baking, and then after that I went on to CIA as well. So I'm like a couple of batches after Emily. So we graduated from the same place for bachelor degree. And then I'm actually more culinary trained in school, but then I always been interested in baking. So at first it was a hobby, and then after a while I was like, you know what, like I want to do this as my career. So I decided to move into pastry. And then so I thought I had some basic pastry training, but I taught the rest by myself. This Kueh thing is actually I've been connecting with my grandma a lot, because a lot of these Kuehs are her recipe. So I've been like trying to FaceTime her, like thank God for the internet, right? Because if not, I wouldn't be able to get all these recipes while I'm here, because I haven't been able to go back due to COVID, and working in the kitchen is so busy. I don't have time to, you just never have time to go and learn recipes from her. So that is something I regret when I was so busy working in the kitchen. I've worked in casual, semi-fine dining, fine dining in Singapore and SF. Only two places in SF, and the rest have been in Singapore. I came here 2018, October, so it's just been 1.5 years about there.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I'm glad that we have you here. So essentially, you're very authentic. You almost came fresh off boat with all the perspectives of Singapore flavors, which is great. All right. So fabulous. Let's get into the session today. So this evening, we're going to cover Hainanese chicken rice and kueh dadar. And we're going to have Emily walk us through Hainanese chicken rice. And then we will have Erica walk us through kueh dadar. They have very kindly included the recipes here, but they've also made it possible for us to follow how they actually do this. So Emily, do you want to walk through the recipe very quickly before we show the video?
Yeah, sure. All right. So with the Hainanese chicken rice recipe that I provided, it mainly like feeds 2 people or one very, very hungry Singaporean, right? Essentially, the most important thing you got to understand about Hainanese chicken rice is that although it's like, 3 ingredients, chicken, rice, and soup, right? And then your chops, like your sauces, it is, I think, a relatively intermediate skill to high skill dish, because you need to be able to poach your chicken, and poaching is not necessarily the easiest thing to do in a home kitchen. But anywho's, here is the recipe for 2 or 1 hungry person. You can get your chicken thighs easily from like TJ's or something. If you don't want to, like debone it or anything, you should go get the deboned one already. So kosher salt is essentially salt that has like larger granules, so that allows for you to like scrub the grime off the chicken skin, which also then translates to smooth like skin from the chicken. That's ideally what you want from chicken rice chicken. The turmeric powder and sesame oil is turmeric powder is not necessary, but it gives people the illusion that you're using like very good chicken for some reason. But that's a trick I learned somewhere. Sesame oil is good for keeping the skin moist. So if you don't brush your oil after the multiple processes, if you don't brush the oil on the chicken skin, it will dry out and it won't be as shiok visually and when you eat it lah. So poaching liquid is like a vessel of liquid where you used to put the chicken in. Obviously, we have to make it more aromatic with these ingredients: the green onion, lemongrass, and ginger. You can also put pandan leaf. I didn't include it in there because it's not what I use in Kapau, Singapore, because pandan leaf is very expensive. and then garlic ginger sauce, chili sauce, and soy dipping sauce are all relatively self-explanatory in terms of their ingredients. But you can see the chicken stock / poaching liquid as one of the ingredients. This brings me back to when I was talking about it being a dish where you have to utilize pretty much everything. So let's say if you have a chicken with your thigh, you debone the thigh and you take out the bones, put it in your poaching liquid. You can fortify the poaching liquid to make it taste more like chicken, and eventually use that poaching liquid as your drinking soup, right? And then when you have excess fat from the chicken, that is where you take the fat and you render the fat out to make your rice aromatic. Because you see how like the rice glistens, chicken rice is very like shiny, right? It's like pearls of like yolkness. It's because it's covered in fat. But that's why it's delicious. So there's that lah. I think following this will be a video that I made quite poorly.
No, I thought it was.
I hope you guys get to enjoy it.
That is awesome. Well, I'm going to flip into the video now so we can make it come alive. And Em, I think we might not get the sound as we did. I know during the dry run, we could hear the sound.
Yeah, it's fine. The sound is just music. I can sing along to it if you want me to, but it'll be distracting.
Yeah, no, feel free to talk us through it, because I think we might need you to do some of that just to, so I'm going to just move the screens around a little bit while I get this going as well. So, okay. I'm going to open it up and play it. And here we go. Is there audio?
No audio.
Okay, keep talking through it.
Yeah, obviously I'm not doing this real time lah, but it's very fast forwarded. Oh, I've explained this already. You have to rub this, like really rub it on. It also marinates the chicken as you let it sit there for like 20 minutes. That will also help the chicken to taste like it's seasoned. Yeah.
So you're rubbing the salt on the chicken thigh.
The skin especially, to rub off all the grime. So after when you poach it, right, it becomes silky smooth.
Oh, because so that will make it smooth. I see. That's the trick.
That
I wonder
is
mine is never smooth.
very, very important.
Okay.
Is there a difference between buying frozen chicken and normal chicken when you do this?
You could use frozen chicken. It's just I think usually frozen chicken it's not like the best quality chicken. Yeah, but frozen chicken you have to thaw it and all that jazz. So just get a good nice chicken when you're putting in all this effort to make chicken rice, right? This took very long, by the way. Like 30-45 minutes, but also I was videoing lah, so
got it.
Yeah, so like don't be kiam siap on putting the oil in there, just go for it. Yeah, see, so that's the chicken that's dried out of the ice bath. And brush it, look at that sheen. It's like instantaneously more supple and delicious looking.
Oh wow.
Everyone's telling me they're very hungry at this point.
No kidding.
So for this one I cut it up a little bit smaller because I was sharing with other people, unfortunately. And then this is that was the sauce for the chicken that you can find in the recipe. But yeah.
Got it.
This looks amazing. It looks just like what we have in the in Singapore.
Yeah.
This is a very fast forward version. So
it's minutes.
Are you going to share this video with us?
Yeah, you can totally have access to it. Jasmine also has it, so feel free to use it. You can pause it and watch it anytime you want.
Yes, so you can rewind and go back there. This was really fast. I think we kind of missed this part because we were talking through it. So please.
Okay. If you pause it.
Okay.
So the poaching liquid.
Okay, hold on. Go back. Make stock, render chicken. Yep.
Yeah. So on the top left hand side, I made the stock. That's what I used to get like flavors. Also, I can boil that one to extract more flavor from the bones, right? And then the other one I used to is just the poaching water for it. So that the one with all the bones I used to put into my sauces, like the chili sauce and the soy sauce. But obviously you can combine the poaching liquid with that one of the chicken bones. It's just a matter of like, I was just trying to rush through it, but if you have the time, you can put the bones together with the poaching liquid and let it cook first, and then you poach your liquid after the flavor has all been extracted from the chicken bones and your aromatics. Yeah, it's a pretty time-consuming process, but for it to be very good, that's what you have to do.
Got it.
Yeah.
So we have a question here on how long you poached the chicken for.
That's the fun part. Okay, so here's the thing. I work professionally in kitchens for like very long, or long enough, that when you cook at home, right, you realize that the BTU, which is like the measurement for like the heat, is a lot lower. So for this chicken, usually at work, I'm like, okay, within 5 minutes, my big thing of water is boiling already, right? But over here, I have to wait like very long, 30 minutes, be patient, cover the lid on, that kind of thing. So what I say is, for home cooking with the chicken, when your water is simmering, right? When all the aromatics are already in there and it's already simmering and you're ready to put your chicken in, bring it up to like a slight boil. Especially since this is chicken thighs, it cooks a lot faster. And then you just shut the heat off with a lid and you just let it sit there for like 20 minutes to carry over cooking. Because essentially the bacteria that everyone's afraid of is salmonella, and it dies at 160 Fahrenheit. And that is at simmering temperature is already beyond that that temperature, so you're going to be okay. But if you're dealing with whole chickens, that adds another level of complexity to it because of the thickness of like the chicken breast, the chicken thighs. And if you're using a whole chicken and you're putting it in a vessel that is not necessarily big enough, like there's not enough water, it will cool down the water so fast that it's going to take a longer time to cook it, or you will end up with raw chicken. So this is definitely something you have to try and error yourself. But if you have an induction cooker, the one that you can set the time and temperature for, set your temp to 180 Fahrenheit and let it go for 30 minutes, and then just let it rest there on its own. Because 180 Fahrenheit it's not boiling, so you won't like overly exert the protein structures in the chicken that makes it tough. You're essentially just poaching it at a systematic temperature where like you're just like a happy like piece of protein, just like you know, taking like a warm bath, that kind of thing. So do that for 30 minutes, and then you have your whole chicken is cooked already.
Got it. Let me move on to the next step so that we can see what happens next. So tell us a little bit more about this blending of chilies. Do you chop it up in tiny pieces, or do you use a blender?
I use a blender. If you have a mortar and pestle, if you want to be like true blue kampong style, I support it, but I'm very lazy, so I put it in a blender. So essentially I de-seeded the Fresno chilies. I mean, I left some like seeds in there. Fresno chilies are good replacements for the red chilies that we get in Singapore, because they aren't as spicy, and they're pretty much the only red chilies available in California anyway. That's to my knowledge, that is available year round. So there's that, and then I put like lime zest in it to make it more like aromatic, and then lime juice, garlic, ginger. They're all fresh. So yeah, and chicken stock and a little bit of sugar.
Where are you getting your chilies, and what kind of chilies? There's so many types of chilies. Is this chili padi or what?
No, it's Fresno chilies. If you want chili padi, you can add like one in, but it's going to be so spicy, which is not a bad thing. But Fresno chilies are good substitutions for the Singaporean big chili. I don't even really know the name of the chili that we have in Singapore, but the big red chili that's not spicy. Fresnos are good substitutes. Otherwise, I would say if you want to even do jalapenos, is perfectly fine. I think it'd be pretty cool to have green chili as opposed to red one. But jalapeno is even milder than a Fresno, I feel. So maybe you could even go for that.
Got it. What is lime zest?
Oh, it's the peel of it's like lime skin, but with the microplane, you just zest the skin off. Lime zest contains not only just enzymes, but like also oils. So I feel like with lime zest, it hits you nicer on the nose because it smells a bit like, ooh, lime and chili, you know what I mean? Lime, chili, garlic, ginger. It just adds like a little bit more to, you know, your typical just lime juice kind of situation.
Got it. A little zest. Yes.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Let me look at any questions. I see a comment from Angela Khan. She says the chili new Korean market, K Market along El Camino, has very fresh chilies. That's kind of cool. That's good to know. And then Boon Heng is asking lime zest, the green pile?
The green pile, yes, is the green pile.
The green pile.
The green pile of zest, guys.
Okay, that's good. All right, let's move on to the next part as we break down. So this is the end product, right, of the sauce that we should be getting.
Yeah, that's a red sauce. I just saw some questions about the ice water. Very important. Because let me explain the science behind chicken. Okay, so when you cook it, right, essentially like skin from any animal has collagen, and your collagen, it has collagen and gelatin. So like, have you ever had like you bought a whole roast chicken from like Safeway or something, then you put it in the fridge, then you see like that jelly-like substance.
Yes.
That's gelatin that cooks, the gelatin and the collagen that cooks out from the chicken. So you know that jelly, like that, you know that squishy thing that's under like very, very good chicken rice. Like that's from it being shocked. That's why your chicken rice is never hot, you know? your chicken is never hot. Your rice is hot, but your chicken is never hot because it needs to stay cold to have the gelatin not melt into the chicken rice.
Is the gelatin basically fat?
Gelatin is not fat.
Okay. That's good to know.
Gelatin is its own thing, leh.
Okay, that's cool. So it's its own thing, and we do this ice bath to preserve it.
Yeah, to like ice bath not only just stops the cooking process, it brings down the temperature of like the entire chicken, which in turn sets it. Like how you set agar or you know, jelly, when you ever make jellies at home, like those konnyaku jellies, right? You have to boil it and you put it in the fridge and it cools down. It's essentially the same thing. You have to let it set. That'd be very, collagen.
Got it. It's good. Awesome. Okay, so going through the process here, we've put I think the ice bath came later, but before we reached the ice bath, we actually had to cook the chicken. This is the part where we talked about how we need to get rid of the salmonella, right? And do you have any tricks about how this is done? Do we just put the chicken in and then just wait for it to boil, or is there?
So I would bring up the poaching liquid to a simmer first, so it holds at a certain temperature, right? Before putting in your kind of like already room temperature chicken. If you put it straight from the fridge, obviously the temperature of your entire pot, because it's your home cooking, there's no way your heat's like strong enough to like sustain the temperature they want it to be. Make sure your chicken is tempered, which will be the case because you've already rubbed it and salted it and you've washed the stuff off, right? So it should be a bit more room temperature. So bring it up. There's a lot of science behind cooking. It's very fun. That's why we're both very into it. So you bring it up to a simmer or a boil. Boil is possible, but not a rolling boiler. Because if it's too high, it will seize the proteins and it may in turn translate to a tougher chicken. So bring it up to a simmer. And then you drop your chicken in and then let it go up to a simmer again, especially since it's chicken thighs, like I said, it cooks faster. Then you can just turn off the heat with your lid on top and just go lepak somewhere and let it do its thing. Slow cooking is usually the best way lah.
Got it. So I've had a few questions. Boon Heng Pang is asking whether we dip the chicken in ice water and then hot water again several times. Do you do that?
I don't do that because I don't understand why people do that. I feel like there's probably a reason behind different cooking techniques, but because it's not very explained, I don't follow that method because it's very, very time consuming, you know, like. But if you ever do it, please tell me why and how and what a difference it makes, because I would love to know too.
Got it. So Boon Heng, maybe we need to have you kind of explain that to us. That's good to know. Thank you. And then we have another important question from Eddie. You know, how do we know when the chicken's safe to eat? Do I have to cook until there's no blood, or you know, how do you know? Especially if you're doing the simmer, you know, like shut down. When do you know is the right point when it's actually done?
Okay, here's when you gotta be like, all right, trust your gut. Okay, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. You should. Okay, no blood is a pretty decent indication. That means that, you know, like it's cooked all the way through, because blood would be close to where the bone is, right? But when you see like, a thermometer would be great. If you have a thermometer at home, if it reaches like 165 Fahrenheit at the thickest part of the meat, that will be a very, very safe gauge. But otherwise, chicken, I don't want to be like that weirdo who says chicken is safe to eat because but it is if you cook it past a certain temperature, it should be fine. The general fear is that it may have been contaminated because like maybe you never prepared it properly, right? If like you touch the chicken and then your knife is dirty, and then your dirty raw chicken blood knife touch your cooked chicken, that's why you get sick. So if you manage to maintain the heat, you manage to cook the chicken at a simmer for like, let's say, a few minutes, and then you turn off the heat, the salmonella is dead. But if you can't get past the like red, the pinkness of it, right? I would say if you can see when you press the skin of the chicken, this is just for like visual like observation. If you don't have a thermometer, if you can press the skin and if you can press the meat and you can see like the fibers kind of like pretty obviously, I think that's a good indication of whether the chicken's cooked or not. If it's still pink and you're not into that kind of stuff, some people are, especially with Hainanese chicken rice. If it's still pink, just maybe turn the heat up again for like, let it go for like a couple more minutes, and then it will be more cooked and you'll be more at ease.
Got it. That's good to know. Let us know if you guys have more questions in the chat window, but in the meantime, we will move on to the next phase of the food. So we've got that simmering, we've got that in and out, and then we actually do the ice bath as you described, right? As well, down, and then kind of take that off, do that ice bath, and then put it aside, right? What are you doing with the rice here? You're pouring the...
I'm pouring the poaching liquid / chicken stock. It's kind of like a combination of my chicken stock that was boiling in a small pot in one corner. I kind of like combine, because in that big pot there's all the lemongrass and all that stuff, and you don't want to waste that because it's expensive. You just put it in together and let it cook. Yeah.
Do you put like some garlic into the rice, so that it cooks with the rice? Does that...
Yeah, you can totally do that. I've actually, this is just one of the variants of chicken rice that I do. But if you have more time, I actually usually like to blend the garlic and ginger together, and then I set it up with chicken fat. Or I cook it with chicken fat until it's slightly brown. Because like, when you caramelize garlic and ginger, there's a very particular, like, nice, rich aroma that comes from it. And you can do that as well. But for this one, I think I went with it pretty basic. I put in like raw ginger and scallion and lemongrass. There's already garlic in that poaching liquid, that's why I didn't add any more garlic.
Got it. Wilson's asking if you gently fry the rice before in chicken fat as well.
Yeah, that one also can be done. When you gently fry the rice, here's the thing. So when you gently fry the rice, what that allows is for your rice, all of your rice, to be very well coated with chicken fat. So each grain will have chicken fat. For this recipe that I've given to you guys, it is like a home recipe, because if not, there's really a lot of work that goes into making chicken rice. This is like a hack version. You can just put the oil on top and then just like stir it a little bit. It will give a similar effect, obviously not like the ultimate effect, but it will pass as chicken rice.
Great. We have a couple more questions. Do you rinse the jasmine rice several times until the water runs clear?
Okay, here is what that like translates to, right? The reason why I believe people rinse rice out a lot is so as to remove the additional starches from the rice, the loose starches that are like not on the rice but like kind of stuck to it at the same time. So if you rinse it, yes, it makes your individual rice grains not stick to each other. That's very nice. That's like the ultimate beautiful bowl of rice that you want. You don't have to do that, but you should do it if you want to make it like super chill. Yeah. And then the olive oil, veggie oil. Never use olive oil in Singaporean food, excuse me. Which kind of, you ever have olive oil in like what? Hokkien Mee? No such thing, dude.
Oh dear.
What kind of oil do you use? It's like regular cooking oil?
Yeah, regular cooking oil. I'm sorry. But it's like okay lah, you wanna talk about authenticity, right? No.
So is it what, corn oil or is it sesame oil?
Veggie oil, peanut oil, like Singapore back then is very cheap. Everything we use is cheap stuff. So olive definitely doesn't grow in Singapore. But if you're looking for a healthier alternative, I'd say sure, go ahead, use olive oil, nix the chicken fat, might as well. So I'm sorry, I'm very blunt, guys.
That's good. No, I mean, we want to be very clear here because we are trying to source for ingredients, right? That's good to know. Well, I'm actually half Hainanese. My mom is Hainanese. So this chicken rice thing is something I've seen her do many times. And I think what she does is she takes the rice when it's just been washed, right? She uses the rice cooker and she pours in the chicken fat and the cloves of garlic and some little bit of ginger into the rice. So maybe that makes it faster. So then the rice itself is infused as it's being cooked, right? With the oily, I guess.
Exactly that, Jasmine. You have articulated my thoughts way more professionally and better than I have.
Not possible. Thank you. But anyway, I think that goes with the rice thing. But maybe, so I think we kind of got the rice. I'm checking with Bunpang. He's like, got it. He's cool with it now. And no olive oil. We're all clear on that. And I know that my mom definitely just uses the chicken fat oil, right? Literally.
Yeah.
In that
portion. Yeah, the chicken fat. If you can, that'd be great lah. But I don't know. I went to like multiple butchers to ask for chicken fat, and they're like, don't have. Then I'm like, oh my God, where to find chicken fat?
Is that chicken fat? I mean, what is being fried over here?
That's all the excess skin from the chicken thigh.
Got it.
So I cleaned it so I can render the fat out. So yeah.
Right. Got it. Yeah. I think we all agree chicken fat is the best. All right. And I've been told it's great for my skin as well. The hands, they've been saying that.
Yeah, like collagen. Collagen.
Yes. That's right.
That's why Asians look the way Asians look.
Best moisturizer. Hainanese women look so good because of that.
Now I know why, Jasmine.
Yeah, no, my mom, you said right from the start.
She's your mom. Yeah.
All right, so this is
70s.
Yeah, so this is green onion, yeah? And then you're basically, you don't cut it. You just sort of fold it in. Okay.
Yeah, you could cut it. Like I said, this is for 1 or 2 people.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Then we have this chicken. Pat it dry and brush. I love the way you tenderly did it in the video.
Yeah, gotta show you guys the before after video.
Got it. So you brush it with sesame oil, turmeric, and chicken stock.
Yeah.
And that's that shimmering thing that you see in this mixture.
You see that little vessel of yellow.
Oh, got it. Awesome.
Yeah.
It looks so delicious. Everyone is excited. All right. So then we have to cut it up in pieces.
Yeah.
And then you have your bok choy in the corner as well. Is that bok choy?
This is bok choy with oyster sauce. I literally filmed this. Okay, I was just making dinner. So this was my home dinner for me, my boyfriend. So yeah, then I was like, okay, lah, 顺便, make the video.
My gosh, this is amazing to have a chef deliver the chef and get meals like this all the time. Wow. So so that's bok choy with oyster sauce.
Oyster sauce. Yeah.
Okay. And so you serve it on the bed of that. And then what is this?
This is for the soy. This is like the soy dipping sauce.
Mm-hmm.
When the chicken rice is on a platter, they usually it's doused in like this brown sauce, right?
Right.
So over here I use like rock sugar, soy sauce, and ginger, garlic, and you can also use mirin or rice wine. That helps takes it up a notch. It's like next level chicken rice, but I didn't use it for this recipe because there are many variations of Hainanese chicken rice. This is just the most basic one that I'm putting out there for you guys.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, I love it. All right. I think we have a lot of people who are keen to try it already. They're asking for the recording, and some of them even want to move next to you. So that's exciting.
Oh, I live in a very shoddy neighborhood.
Well, if you get good food, I mean, that's the thing of life, right? We need. Okay. Wow. It all comes together like this. This is your regular meal, indeed. Like Angela, I want to.
This is like for myself, yeah, and not trying to impress anybody kind of situation.
Huh? Really? So now I'm curious about what you do when you want to impress someone. Oh, so this is the sauce. What is that? Is that soy sauce you just kind of put over it?
Yeah, I put it
casually?
over. Yeah, and then let it like soak it up, and then the chili sauce is in the corner. So for some chicken rice, there's also a garlic, ginger, rice wine vinegar, like kind of dressing that people put on top.
Yeah.
So if you want to do that, right, it's literally like kind of like 1-to-1 ratio of garlic and ginger and half. So it's like, okay, ratio of ginger, garlic, and rice wine in this sequence, 2:1. Rice wine vinegar. Then you just blend with a little bit of salt. Then you just like put it on top. That what makes it like, that hits your olfactory system when you eat chicken rice. It's that first hit of the ginger garlic vinegar, and then after that it's like the chicken and the soy sauce.
Got it. So once again, everybody, here's the recipe that she kind of went through. She had different components for the chicken, for the poaching liquid, garlic sauce, chili sauce, soy dipping sauce, and the rice that she just showed us as well. So great. That's brilliant. Thank you so much, Emily. I know folks, as they digest this, mentally before we do it physically, but mentally, I'm sure you guys may have more questions for her. Let us move on to Kueh Dadar as well, because Erica is going to go through the same process. Emily, thank you so much. That was amazing.
Anytime.
All right,
Yeah, thank you, Emily. Thank you for sharing your special recipe.
Yeah.
Thank you, Emily.
Yeah, do stick around though, because we will have more questions for you, right? As we go through this. Now, let's go through Erica's portion on Kueh Dadar. I am not sure I've actually eaten this before.
Really?
But I think, I think you got to make some for me so that I could try it out.
Definitely.
So this is my new scheme of trying to get some of food, to me. But this looks awesome though. Tell us about this, your recipe here.
Okay, so Kueh Dadar, if you guys don't know, as you can see in the photo, it's a pandan crepe or pancake. I would call it a crepe because it's very thin. And then inside is wrapped with the grated coconut that's steeped in gula melaka or coconut palm sugar. So essentially, it's actually just two parts: the crepe and the filling. But it's quite a bit of steps that you need to do. And yeah, so this is the recipe. Filling would be you combine everything in the pot, put it on low to medium heat, and let the gula melaka melt and coat everything. And then you want to cook it a little bit so it dries out, so you don't get too wet and then soaks into your crepe. Gula melaka, you have to shave it. Best way, I still have not found the best way. If I ever do, I'll share it with you guys. But the only way I've been doing it is using a knife and just lightly shaving it. And that's very time consuming because given the amount that I use, it takes me an hour to finish grating all my gula melaka. So that's a project every time I do it. And then the pandan pancakes or crepe. So you take the pandan leaves, use scissors, you cut it into like about an inch, and then you put it with water and it says 50 grams coconut. It's actually supposed to be coconut milk. I missed it out. So water and coconut milk in a blender, or if you have a magic bullet or anything that can blend, just blend it until it's fine. You can watch it in the video later. And then you combine everything together like a pancake batter, and then you cook it on the pan. So I think we can watch the video and then I can go through more about it later. All
right. So without further ado, let's do the video and feel free to talk us through it. And then as we just did as well, we'll watch the video and then we'll go through it in slow motion with folks so we can catch up, because this is a very fast video too. All right, everyone ready? Okay, I have a question from Kristen. What is AP flour?
All-purpose flour. Sorry.
All-purpose. Okay. The experts, right, speak in this cool way. Now I know it's AP flour, not like AP Chem, AP Physics, but AP all-purpose. Got it. So, great. And I think we have Boon Heng actually trying to figure out where we can get these as well, asking whether New Mei Hua would have gula, melaka, and pandan leaves.
Yes, they do. The New Mei Hua has both gula melaka. It's called gula java, so you have to look for the different name. Gula melaka is what we find in Singapore, but it's essentially the same thing. And then they have fresh pandan leaves and frozen pandan leaves. Personally, the fresh ones are the thick ones, so they're not as fragrant. So I would go for the frozen ones. Let me show you.
Okay.
I just open my freezer tonight. So this is the frozen pandan leaf. Oh, upside down. Frozen pandan leaf you can find. This is what I get, and then it's like, like Emily said, pandan leaf is not cheap, so
When you say not cheap, what do you mean by that? What's the price range?
This is like 200 grams for $6 something.
Oh,
So
wow.
in
Okay.
Singapore, you buy like one bunch is $1, and that you can get a lot out of it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Got it. You can tell someone like me hasn't actually purchased any of this. I have no idea, but it's good to know that that's the price. Got it. Okay. And Angela Khan is saying Lion Market in San Jose along Saratoga has fresh pandan leaves and gula java. Maybe Angela, you can tell us how much it costs. It's actually just down the road from me, but I've actually never shopped for it there. That's great. Okay, well, maybe let's get started a bit and we can talk a little bit more about where to get food and different spices, because I think that's in some of the questions. All right, let's roll. This is Erica's video. So as you describe, you combine the pandan leaves, right, with them through the magic blender?
Yes.
And you strain it into a bowl?
Yes.
Okay.
And you want to press it until you get everything out, because the leaves absorb the water.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to press it until it's very, very dry.
Got it.
And then you just use all the liquid. So I cheated. I put a little bit of green coloring actually.
Uh-huh.
So that's why it's a bit more green.
Got it. So these are all the items that are needed, right? You just shared with us. Maybe you can talk us through this a little bit.
Okay, so what essentially you have there is a rack, a tray to hold your pancakes, and then a pan. I use an 8-inch non-stick pan. Non-stick is the best, it doesn't stick. The paper towel that I have is oil. I use it to wipe the pan. So after every pancake, I just wipe it down. So it helps to add an additional layer of oil and doesn't stick at all. So you take one ladle, you put it in, you swirl it. The pan is on about medium heat.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you put it in, you just swirl until you see the batter start to get thick, and then that's when you set it down and then you let it cook.
Got it. And your recipe,
1 minute. Mm-hmm.
Recipe you have is how many people does it feed, or how many pieces does it make?
You get 8 pancakes.
Okay, 8
or
pancakes.
8 with my ladle. So it depends. I don't know what's the size of this ladle, but I can let you know later, and Jasmine can shoot it out to the rest.
Got it. Okay, so you're basically describing the surface?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it's ready when the sides start to lift up from the pan. So now it's sticking to the sides,
Mm-hmm.
and then it will start to come to from being like this, it goes away from the pan. That's when it's roughly done. I said 1 minute, but I don't know. I make too many to actually count how long it takes. Some days I'm making 50 over pancakes at one time. So yeah.
And you want it to be thin, or what's the diameter of or what's the the depth, right, of each pancake? Is it wafer thin?
It's 1 cm ish. 2 no,
0.1.
It's not 1 cm. 1 cm. 0.1. Yeah, 0.1 cm. It's very thin.
Okay.
So I use my hands to flip it, but be careful because I know what I'm doing. So if you guys do it, either use a spatula or something, but they're very delicate, so just be very careful.
Mm-hmm.
And then.
Got it. And this is your gula melaka stuff that you are.
Yes.
Okay. And you're doing some measurement there? Are you kind of indicating that it has to be that particular width?
Yeah. Okay. I'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Or now if you want.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. So if you could pause at that part when I was talking about it.
Mm-hmm. This part? Yep.
A bit more back behind.
Yep.
Okay, here. So you put the filling about a third So you see I have about an inch of the pancake at the end, right? You want to put it about there, and you want to pack it together, but it doesn't have to be very tight. And then next you roll it. Could you move the video a little bit?
Yes.
So then you roll it over. Okay. It's like, essentially think of it making like popiah.
Okay.
You roll it over the filling, and then you roll it one more time. So you get it about halfway through, like a semicircle. That's when you start folding the sides.
Okay.
And you fold the sides in.
Got it. So it doesn't leak. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't leak, and you want it tight. And then this part is essential. After you fold in the sides, you don't want to pull the pancake. You just want to gently roll it to the end, because if you pull it, the pancakes will tear. Like I have done that a lot of times, and then I have to remake more. So when you're rolling it, you just roll it gently until you finish all the skin, and then you get a very nice kueh dadar. And then you eat.
Got it.
And then of course all the broken pieces go into my mouth, and I don't usually eat sweets, but this is my favorite, so I just
nice
make and then eat.
Love it. So what is happening here? You're cooling it down, is that right? The cooling rack?
Yes. So the cooling rack, I normally have one cooling rack. Of course, this is because I was making one recipe, I use a small one. Normally mine is like a very big cooling rack, and I have like 4 at one time because I use 2 pans to cook them. So what you want to do is cool it. You cool one while you're cooking the second one. By the time your second one is done, your first one should be ready, and then you transfer it to a tray, and then you repeat the process until you finish all the pancakes. And then after I finish all that, then I start rolling everything.
Got it. And you don't want it to be hot because it might melt the gula melaka, I'm guessing. Is that right?
No, because if it's too warm, the pancakes they're a bit, okay, wait. If they're warm, the gluten is not set yet, so it can tear or break easily. Yeah, so you want to cool it down so that the gluten structure is, formed back together.
Got it.
Things.
So
I also, like Emily said, we are very interested in.
Right. There's a question here from Sabrina about whether you can actually freeze it and then use it for later. So I guess maybe can you do a whole bunch of skins before you wrap the rest?
I have not tried that. But if I do, I will let you guys know. The filling keeps for quite a while. So if you want, you can make a bit more. If you have balance, they last more than a week because of the sugar. It's so much sugar, so it doesn't go bad. And 8 pancakes usually they go pretty fast. I think in like 3 days, I think you will finish them. And I put 8 because if you scale down the recipe, it's half an egg. It's hard to measure half an egg, so that's why I put only that recipe.
Got it. So I have we have a couple of questions, and so maybe we'll take some of them here as well. So I think folks are asking if they can substitute pandan leaves with pandan paste.
Yes.
Let me roll this.
So
yep,
so
keep going.
Instead of the pandan leaves, so I would say if you take the same amount of liquid, so 200 grams of water and 50 grams of coconut milk. I've never used pandan paste in my life, I'm sorry. So I don't know how strong or how pungent that would be. But I would say like put 1/8 teaspoon and then taste it to see if it's strong enough. Because I never bought pandan paste before, so I don't know.
Got it. What about the coconut milk here? Did you buy it out of the can, or do you do some other thing?
Okay, so at New Mewa, you can find actually fresh coconut milk that is frozen. You want to see one pack? I actually have one in my freezer right here. I'm doing like a show and tell actually.
That's great, because we want to know exactly what we can get. I thought I saw some being sold at Costco, but I might be wrong as well.
So there's this coconut milk in a bag. It's about a pound. This is like, I want to say $2 something.
Okay.
So it's the fresh one, so it's actually not it's the coconut cream with water, so it's actually quite nice, more fragrant. But then it's not sustainable for me in the long run because it's quite expensive. So I've been buying the canned ones, and that's fine. So you can get the canned coconut milk. That's totally fine as well.
Okay, got it. then the next one is the fillings. So I'm just going to
Mhm.
scroll it forward. So you were basically kind of pressing it down, right? As we saw earlier, going through the steps again.
Yeah. And then, so I'm also looking at the questions here.
Right. And then you add the
Christine
egg.
asked,
Yep.
yeah. Christine asked if the crepe is ready, you can lift it up and flip. Yes, it no longer sticks to the pan. So you definitely can lift it up quite easily.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, you cannot grip it too hard. It's like a very quick flip so that it doesn't break. The filling, when you cook it, it usually would dry up quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And what else?
So there's a little bit of debate on the coconut. Coconut doesn't produce the same awesomeness if it's dry. So I think the recommendation is to use.
Yeah. So you can rehydrate desiccated coconut by steaming them.
Mm-hmm.
It's flavorful. I mean, it has coconut flavor, but not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I use grated frozen coconut that can be found at New Maewa. If you want to see as well, let me show you.
Okay.
I have this mini fridge in my room. That's why I can pull so many things out of my freezer right now.
That's great.
There's I think I have another brand, but I think I finished.
You're a true chef. It's like you're living in your kitchen. But keep going.
I have a whole pantry out there. So this is also found at New Maewa. So me and Emily, we go shopping together. So that's why we buy things from the same places.
Mm-hmm.
So this one is my favorite found in SF because when you make kueh, you need grated coconut. My grandma keeps telling me you have to go to the market, get them to grate the coconut for you. I'm like, I cannot find that here. I wish I can. But this is product of, it doesn't say, but I think, product of Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a whole pound of grated coconut. This is more than enough for at least 4 recipes of what I put on the website. And this is very nice. So you can use this for the outside of the onde as well.
Okay, great. So when you say oil, again, what kind of oils? Just standard vegetable oil?
I use canola oil or vegetable oil.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
Okay.
You want to use something that doesn't have flavor. So that's why I use vegetable or canola oil because it doesn't overpower it.
Makes sense. Okay, I'm going to scroll this forward. Any instructions here that you think we should be aware of as we scroll this forward?
No, just spread out the batter as evenly as possible because you don't want some parts. Sometimes if my pan's too hot and I don't swirl it properly, there's a part that's thicker than the rest, and when you're folding it, you get uneven looking kueh dadar because some part is thicker.
Mm-hmm.
I wear gloves because it's hot, so the gloves gives me an extra protection from the heat.
Mm-hmm.
And also because the kueh dadar has coconut, it spoils very fast, and our hands always have bacteria no matter how well you wash it. And I get very bad, sometimes I get cuts on my hands.
Mm-hmm.
When you get cuts, you have the Staphylococcus, which is one of the bacteria that's found in cuts. That's why you have to always cover up any cuts on your hands, and then that can go onto the pancake. They spoil very fast.
Got it. So we move on to the next step. We've taken the pancakes out, right? They're all getting ready in the cooling rack. There's a question on drying the gula melaka. So I'm just going back to that as well. I think it came up, whether you need to dry the filling before you put it in.
So when you combine everything in the pot, you actually cook it for about 10 to 15 minutes until because you put a little bit of water in there to help the gula melaka melt, and then it simmers a little bit so it gets quite dry. I don't like to dry it too much because when you eat the kueh dadar, you want it to have a bit of a syrupy feel in the filling.
Got it.
And then
we have someone asking if we need to flip and cook both sides of the pancake. That's a great question.
Yes, first side of the pancake takes longer, so about 30 seconds to 1 minute. And then once it lifts up from the side, you can flip it. After you flip it, you cook the second side for about 30 seconds. You can pull it off already. That doesn't really need to be cooked because it's so thin, it cooks through from the bottom. And then you flip it and it can be ready. Also, while we were on this topic about, keto and dietary things, I actually am able to make gluten-free kueh dadar. That is available. Because I feel that people with allergies or intolerances, I feel that it's sad for them to not be able to enjoy the things everybody else can. It's not preferences or anything, but it's something their body cannot handle. So I think that it should be available to a lot of people. And even at the restaurant, I will always have one vegan, gluten-free, nut-free dessert on my menu at a time every single, all year round. I'll change it with the seasons, but definitely will have one vegan, gluten-free, nut-free. So people who cannot take eggs, no gluten, no dairy, they can always have a dessert instead of getting a sorbet, which is very sad.
That's great. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Love that. Oh, so Sabrina's asking again, how do you flip it? Do you use another pan or do you kind of delicately?
I use my hands. I just grab the side and flip it. You can use
no, in the pan and when it's being cooked.
In the pan, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I think the video, if you go back, you can see me flipping it. It was like a very quick one.
Oh, okay. Got it. Let me try to pull it back. Meantime, we have a question from Kristen on whether there's a keto option for the flour as well.
I'm still learning about keto. I don't know what kind of.
Usually we use almond flour. Do you think almond flour would work?
So no starch, so no potato, no rice, right?
Right.
Okay.
Maybe almond flour and egg whites, Erica, you think?
No, almond too coarse. It'll be very texturally weird. But chestnut is chestnut.
Yeah, I think
and chestnut maybe.
Almond flour and coconut flour. So coconut sounds closest to your recipe because you're using a lot of coconut here too, right?
Yeah. So my gluten-free flour blend actually contains oat flour, rice flour, and potato starch. But I'm sure those two can be substituted with coconut and chestnut flour. So definitely we'll look into, if people are interested, I'll definitely look into keto recipe, and then I can share it with you guys.
That would be awesome. Although I think the gula melaka is going to be a big fail. The keto.
Oh yeah, exactly.
As it stands.
I mean,
we're gonna find a big substitute for that. But that's awesome. So we just saw the flip, right, Sabrina? I hope you saw that. We went through that flip during the scene. She did indeed use her hands. So I think that, indeed that the gloves really do help because it's hot. There we go. She's flipping it. Whoa. All right. Super nifty. Thank you. Wow. This has been super interesting. I think I have a lot of people who are reporting that they're hungry as it stands, and everyone's excited about trying these out. I feel like these are achievable. I never thought they were so, it almost feels like I can do this, which is very encouraging. Amazing. Thank you, ladies, for making it accessible for us. Now, I think we usually end at 9:30, but this session has been running. I mean, everyone's been really interested in following up in terms of some of the questions. So I'm going to take on some of the questions that we have here with respect to food prep or ingredient sourcing, right, that came through as well. I think you ladies looked at them a little bit ahead. Any comments on the page here and on some advice?
All right. So, wow. For kueh dadar, definitely frozen. Fresh if possible, but if not fresh, frozen. And if not frozen, use the dried desiccated ones, right? And then blue ginger is galangal, if I'm not wrong. Galangal you can find in New Mei-Wah. Butterfly pea flour, that one you can order from Amazon, no problem. You can get it dried. East Bay, I heard that maybe Berkeley Bowl has some Asian options, but we don't usually go to the East Bay to buy groceries. So I'm sorry, cannot really answer your question there. Pandan, dark soy sauce, chili sauce, all these tubs. You go into New Mei-Wah, go all the way to the back and all the way to the left side. That's where you get all the tubs. I'm very bad at
frozen pandan leaf is fresh side. You can find it sometimes in the herb section, which is when you go to the fresh side, all the vegetables, the chiller section, you can find it all the way at the end. Or the frozen one will be next to the root vegetable and at the frozen section in front of the meat. You can find it at that corner over there near the prata.
Yeah,
I know
if
it by
you
hand
cannot find
already.
the stuff, just like Instagram DM us and we'll just tell you where
Yeah,
exactly it is.
definitely.
Because it's like we live in New Mewa now.
If you live near me, I can buy more for you. Then you just come collect and Venmo me lah. Pandan leaf assistant.
Got it. We have someone who's Galaxy Tab S2 says, you know, they're actually growing their own pandan
Oh my
leaves.
god, please.
Wait, what?
No.
How?
Are you selling this?
Who's Galaxy Tab S2? This is amazing.
Reveal yourself now.
Yeah.
Oh,
In
oh gosh.
Colorado.
Wow.
Can you ship one plant to me? I buy. I want to grow my own pandan too.
Nice. You
Oh,
can get it
Florida?
from.
Okay.
Wow.
Interesting.
Okay, so
I
let's
was
keep
planning to
going.
bring some back.
Oh, okay. See, the sea ham is black cockles. Black cockles can be found in New Mewa and they are frozen. However, it's like $6 for 200 grams only, and it's 200 grams plus shell. So you think about the yield is like pathetic for $6. So a good substitution would be clams in general. Baby clams, the more tender they are, it gives like the same like boing boing kind of texture. Don't overcook your clams. That's how we eat it in Singapore anyway with sea ham. Where do you find curry leaves and laksa leaves? In LA. Wow, sorry, cannot answer your question.
We'll have to investigate for further. Perfect. How to source online? Maybe that's a more generic thing.
I feel like there's this app called Wee, like WEEE. They have Southeast Asian ingredients from what I heard, but I haven't had the opportunity to use them yet because when I tried using them during shelter in place, everything was sold out. So yeah, Angela Khan is correct.
Got it. Thank you. And I think someone's asking for, if we are 101 cook, what is a good recipe group food book for Singaporean food? What would you recommend?
Book,
that
with
ingredients that we actually can find.
Okay, I would say Rasa Malaysia and Nonya Cooking are my favorite websites to go to refer to. Obviously, there are modifications that I do on my end, but those are very good. And then the Meat Man on YouTube, they show and they explain certain things to you, which is quite cool. So you should follow them.
Okay, the Meat Man?
Yeah, Meat Man channel on YouTube. They also have a website where they list ingredients down. So that's pretty interesting.
Okay, let me move on to the next page. What are some of the typical substitutes, right, that you do for some of the ingredients that you have?
Okay, I think this is, obviously with every ingredient, it's always slightly different, right? Like, if I can't find the chili that we get here, I use something else. That we get in Singapore, I use something else. How I decide to substitute things is based off of my professional cooking knowledge and what we have available in terms of seasonality in California. I don't think that's something you can know at the top of your head. Obviously, you have to study the seasons in SF, and then on top of that, know where to go to buy your ingredients, right? Because not every single Asian restaurant you hit will Asian supermarket you hit will have the necessary ingredients, because a number of the foods in Singapore doesn't derive from Singapore. It comes from China, it comes from Thailand, it comes from Vietnam. So if you trace your recipe back to its roots, you are very likely to be able to find those ingredients from that particular culture. Like, let's say Vietnamese grocery stores, they have laksa leaves, lemongrass, or coffee lime leaf. So easy, you can make laksa from there, you can make tom yum from there, you know what I mean? So you have to kind of know the cuisines, like the dishes, ethnic background to really go and like substitute ingredients lah.
Got it. Hey, how about cutting the langgol? How do you do that?
Oh my god. Every time I cut it with my chef knife, I cry a bit because it's expensive chef knife, right? So you get some like lousy hacker, you hack it. No, honestly, find a knife that is sturdy. So I think a German knife would be very good. It is sharp. It has some weight to it. You really have to use your body weight on it. Like, I'm not a very big person.
So a chopper wouldn't work? The Asian chopper?
Yeah, but then you fly across your kitchen, right? Like, obviously, it's so tough. It's not fun. I also try and go for the younger galangal just to make my life like 1% easier. But what can I say? I'll just get like my boyfriend to cut it for me. He's a bigger person.
Well, he's got to work on it somehow, right? He's got to do something. He can't just be eating. He has to work for his food. Got it. Good. So how do we achieve wok hei at home?
Okay. Interesting. I think it's very possible if you have an induction stove, induction and iron cast iron or steel, right? But the thing is, then you know how most woks are curved at the bottom. You have to find one that is flat bottom for induction.
Side note on that: if you want a wok, if you're in SF, go to Chinatown wok shop. That's where I got my wok. It's flat base. So that is very good for home cooking because we don't have that wok stand that we need. And then if you go there, it's a cast iron wok, so you have to season it and you have to take care of it. Mine is completely because I moved recently, so you want me to show you my wok? Angela can't. Okay.
Very rusty,
As I was saying that my cast iron wok has been rusty and I've been using it for steaming because I moved house and currently my house does not have fire. So when my house has no fire, it's like the electric stove. I cannot use my wok at all. So I just use it for steaming. But if you don't mind seeing my rusty wok, I will go and get it. And then I can show you the gula java also.
Okay, so maybe if you go over, we can have Emily cover some of the other questions.
Hi, I'm here to substitute Erica.
Okay. What can we use Instant Pot for? Because I do have an Instant Pot as well.
Oh my god! Okay, Instant Pot, right? Let me tell you, has made my life so much easier. Pork belly. I love pork belly, and then I love skin, the pork belly skin. When you're making so for the past few times I made like Hokkien Mee for Davao Singapore, I cook a pork belly slab that's like so fat in the pressure cooker, and it takes like 20 minutes for it to be cooked thoroughly and for the skin to be tender enough for consumption. So that really expedites my cooking process, as opposed to like letting it sit on one stove. You know, like how valuable one stove is when you have to cook for like 80 people. It's not fun. So put it aside in the pressure cooker and let it do this thing, and then you can do a number of things with the pressure cooker. You can even cook rice with it. You can express cook frozen things.
You can steam root vegetable to make ornie, which I just did recently.
Ornie, my gosh.
Yeah.
I need to try your ornie.
I am back with my wok.
Yeah, so just FYI, pressure cookers are like under $70, can get a decent one. Induction stove, mine is $50. Pretty good investment if you want to play around in the kitchen.
Got it. Thank you. All right, Erica's back with her wok.
So this is my wok. As you can, I don't know. Okay, let me.
Okay, so that's what you mean when you say a flat bottom. I see.
Yes. So instead of it will be round, right? It's a flat bottom.
And why is that good? I'm sorry. Why would a flat bottom be better than a curve?
Because at home we don't have that round like I don't know if you guys have seen before how they do the wok is like they get the round burner and it's like a high heat burner that you can sit the wok in. So when it's round, you get more of the fire goes around on it more. And then when you have a flat one, I mean, because at home we don't have that burner and it doesn't sit well. So this one sits on the stove top where in my old place, it was a fire stove. And then you can just sit this on any of the.
Got it. For the induction stove. Yeah, I'm getting it now. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, induction or anything. But yeah.
Got it.
It's very rusty. And then
no, that's good. Thank you. It's good to see a real example of one. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Now back to Instapot. It looks like everyone's talking about bak kut teh as an option, and Wilson's got some brewing there now.
Also, if you guys want to see the brand of Gula Melaka or Gula Java, you see Gula Java.
That's
awesome. What I use.
Maybe if you can type it up in your notes as well, you can give us the brand for that. That would be awesome. We'll take a little photo. We can then know what to look for, right?
I can WhatsApp you.
Awesome. We'll do a supermarket sweep soon. All right. Going down the list.
I don't buy them all.
Any other questions here, Emily, that you guys feel is interesting to answer? Singapore noodles, where to find that? You
Well,
have
Singapore
you did Hokkien mee, right? So there is that.
I did Hokkien mee. I did so you need to get the two mee fen, which is the horse bee-hoon. The thick bee-hoon. Thick bee-hoon. You can get in New Mei you can get fresh noodles, but I think a lot of people are like buying in bulk. So there's been like a few days where I've been there, then I'm like, oh my god, I don't have the noodles to make Hokkien mee, so I have to go all the way to Chinatown, which is like on the other side of like SF, and then buy the fresh noodles. But you can definitely get fresh noodles from New Mei and places like City Super in Chinatown, depending on where you live. They are like no brand one. It's already packaged in like those plastic bags. So yeah.
Do they sell sambal as well?
They sell sambal, but it's like pretty expensive. I never buy their sambals because, you know, obviously I make my own, right? The sambal is like $5 for a jar, and there are very different kinds of sambals. I think also because they get their sambals from various parts of Southeast Asia. So there's like the Malaysian kind, the Indonesian kind. Indonesia got different like sub-regions, right? So there's so many different kinds of sambals. Pretty cool.
Wow, fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, this has been amazing. You know, I think everyone online has been saying that this has been the most exciting session as well, and very tasty session too. We're all excited to go try our food and maybe order from you guys as well, because apparently, you know, you do have a very exciting channel. I mean, I stole 2 of your photos as promos, but you certainly have a bunch of very delectable photos. Of delicious food that you've been cooking up for the past couple of months as well.
Yeah.
So
just something I want to put out there. I'm working on trying to formalize the business along with Erica. So I think one day in the next few months, you can order our foods through applications as opposed to sliding through DMs, which is, I know, very frustrating. So please be patient with us. It's a lot of work for like this new person trying to set up a business. So please be kind during the COVID time. 谢谢你.
Got it. Because right now we have to go to your Instagram page, right? And then we have to essentially kind of let you know privately that we want to order something. Got it. Same thing for Erica, right? We are ordering that way.
Thing.
But in a few weeks, you're saying that's going to change, which is very exciting.
Months.
I would say within 2 months lah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just pull up.
Oh, that's Taobao Singapore.
Yes. Hang on, let me pull up the page so that everyone can see it. But this has been super fascinating, ladies. I'm so proud that you guys are out there keeping Singapore tradition alive, Singapore culture alive, and feeding Singaporeans. Most importantly, I mean, I've been using a lot. I've been actually in this season, right, ordering from a lot of restaurants to expose my kids, you know, to Singaporean food, which is really hard to do usually because it's not something we find everywhere else. I do have one more question come through from Bunheng. He's asking whether Costco's frozen chicken is good enough for chicken rice.
I never bought.
You don't buy from Costco? I buy from Costco all the time. Is it sacrilegious to buy from Costco?
No, I just never had the opportunity to. So
and also Costco chicken is like very unless like me, I stay alone, but then I bought a 8-pound bag of Costco frozen chicken. I think it's good enough for the quality will be good enough for chicken rice.
Okay.
Just make sure you thaw it beforehand and get
Got
the skin one, the one with skin.
Got it. And then we have to do it in the special way that Emily's teaching us, right? Simmer, and then so it's not too tough, and then got it. Awesome. Well, everyone here, you know, this is Taobao Singapore. The link for Emily's food. I'm going to pull up the link for there we go.
Medicinal bakes.
Yes, medicinal bakes from Erica's link as well. Yep. Erica's got some really exciting food, all the different kuehs as well. As we saw, kueh was very high on your list of things that you guys want. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
So let me pull that up. But yeah, so I think we, you know, as we go through this session, certainly I think we've all learned a lot. I don't know if anybody else has final questions. And maybe as we wrap up, let me just go around the horn very quickly, right? I don't know if Daryl's still with us and if he has any comments before we wrap up. I know tonight's session really ran very late. Daryl, you still on?
Hi, Jasmine. Yes, I'm still on. Thanks to Emily and Erica for a very enlightening session. And, staying in San Francisco, I fully endorse teach that New Meiwa is actually one of the best shops you can ever find.
Yes.
You get all the stuff under one roof.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
that's great.
on a somewhat unrelated note, I think congratulations is due to your partner in crime, Jasmine, which is on the birth of the baby girl, right, Lydia? Just yesterday.
Mark. Yes.
Yes.
That's right.
Congratulations to the
newest Singaporean.
Yes.
That's right. We're excited to expand the family further as well.
Yep, that's for me.
Thank you so much, Daryl. Kueh, any comments from your end too? I know you're new and maybe living alone, so this might be a good way for you to get access to food. But I'm also guessing you probably order from restaurants a lot more since it's hard to cook for one person alone as well.
Yeah, so I guess this is really enlightening for me to know that there are Singaporeans and easy access for me to get home cooked food without having to burn my kitchen. So I'm looking forward to getting such food from the up and coming website as well.
Yep, that's awesome. That's great. And David, thanks for bringing us all here together and for getting us fired up about food and introducing me to Emily and Erica.
Oh my God, thanks David for the Rex. and for supporting us, for buying our foods. You and Michelle are very awesome.
Very steady, very on.
Yes.
That's right.
Thanks, Jasmine. Thanks, Erica and Emily. You have been great. I think this was one of the best sessions I had, or the most entertaining session I had so far.
Because the millennials,
Yeah. So thank you so much, and for the rest of the Singaporeans out there, please stay safe in this very difficult time.
Mm-hmm. That's right. I think some of us, maybe we had higher attendance this evening too, because folks are thinking we might need to be staying at home a little bit more with all the violence out on the streets, right? In the different cities and the curfew out here too. And this is really comfort food at its best, as we look at what's happening around us. It's nice to be able to generate some of our a taste of home. I'm seeing a lot of thanks online as well from everybody else. So David, thanks for bringing us here together. I think folks online are talking about how awesome it is to have this session. I'm going to pass the ball over to Mark as we conclude. Mark?
Well, I just want to thank everyone, Jasmine and all of June and Emily and from all this, it was very hard to stay focused because I think I got more and more hungry. The presentation went. So thank you all, and thank you for your very kind note, Daryl. And hopefully you keep sending suggestions and volunteering to show up for these sessions. I think we really have something that we're going to keep going after this, COVID-19 situation. It's a very interesting new beginning, I think a new norm for our community to have more frequent sharing.
That's right. And definitely maybe more sharing of these sessions as well, Emily and Erica. Certainly because as we look at the list of food that everyone's put on their top 10 list, right, of things they want to have an experience, the food they miss. So I think maybe we can start thinking of what's next in terms of food to show. Kway teow, Hokkien prawn mee, hor fan, jui kueh, laksa. Oh my gosh, awesome list. So great session, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Our next session is going to be in 2 weeks' time. In the meantime, this will give you some time to practice cooking the Hainanese chicken rice as well as kueh dada. And of course, you know how to find the ladies now online. They have Instagram accounts, and that's the only way we can order through Instagram. If those of us who are new to Instagram can find a way to reach us, and David, I think, can definitely point you to the ladies as well. Thanks all, and let's have a great night. And hopefully everyone will stay safe as we go through the next couple of weeks. Take care. Thanks for joining. Bye for now. Erica, Emily, thank you so much again.
Bye. Thank you so much
Bye-bye.
for hosting this.
All right.
Bye.
This was
Bye,
fun.
everyone. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.